We are beginning chapter 6, and I want to talk about some principles of personal money management. As we go through chapters 6 through 10 in our textbook, we're going to be talking about managing personal liquidity and our personal financial decisions. And I just wanted to give you some general principles to keep in mind. As I've mentioned before, I sometimes like to go back to, in my financial counseling, go back to the oldest book of money management, the Bible itself. And there are some great principles in there. There's even some great verses in there that a lot of people down through the years have taken those verses and kind of reworked them on their own. There's a verse in Proverbs 21:5 that says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance and advantage, but everyone who acts in haste comes surely to poverty." And some of these principles that I'm going to be talking about today, these are principles that work at any level, whether it's an individual level, at the family level, at business level, for nonprofits, even for the government itself. They work at any income level, and they transcend time, for any time, anywhere. So the first principle that I want to share with you is a principle that's really it's kind of common sense, but sometimes we get this messed up. Spend less than you earn. Proverbs 13:11, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Again, in Proverbs 21, the wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends wherever he gets. The reality is that I need to live within my income. And the lifestyle choices I adopt must fit within this framework if you're going to have good money management in your life. The second principle is to avoid the use of debt. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Now, let me just explain how this works. If you make $1,000 a month, but you spend $1,100 a month for living itself, where does that extra $100 come from? There's really only two places it can come from. It can either come from savings that you have, extra money that's left over from a previous month, or you have to incur debt. You have to borrow the $100. And usually for individuals, that happens by leaving $100 on a credit card balance. Anyone who has borrowed knows how easy it is to borrow money and how difficult it is to pay it back. And that's why in chapter 8, in a couple chapters, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just sharing with you 6 steps that you can put into place in your life to become debt-free in your life. This verse tells us that we become a slave, and we become a slave to the lender because a portion of our income is no longer under our control. We don't have a choice. The lender has ownership to that. So we have to give a portion of our income to the lender, and that's why we become a slave to the lender. A third principle of money management is just to build an emergency fund, to prepare for the unknown, the unexpected. Again, in Proverbs, go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. It prepares for the future. A fourth principle of money management is to set long-term goals with the right priorities in your life, especially focusing on your lifestyle and your lifestyle choices and how you choose to live. And what are some of the right priorities? Well, I think it's very important that you always provide for your family. That always has to be high on the list. And providing for your family doesn't mean that they have to have the best of everything, but they do need to have their basic needs met. I think another thing that is difficult sometimes for people to learn is to learn how to have a lifestyle that you are content with. A lot of times we have a tendency to think, well, I'm not going to be happy until I have a bigger house, until I have a nicer car, until I'm able to wear the kind of jewelry and the kind of clothes that I want to wear. But you can learn how to be content with much less in life. It talks about a mindset shift and a heart shift. And then once that happens, then you learn how to enjoy what you have. And sometimes, we have a tendency to say, well, I'm going to accept this, but I'm just not going to enjoy it. I'm going to gripe. I'm going to be I'm going to have an attitude that's just, rah, 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 rah. I want to give some concluding thoughts here that you need to keep in mind when you are talking about principles of money management, that there is no such thing as an independent financial decision. If I choose to spend money on one thing, that means it's not available for something else. If I choose to go out to dinner tonight, that means that money is not available for some other activity or choice that I may want to make in the future. Every single financial decision is not independent from other decisions. Second thing is, the longer the perspective, the better the financial decisions. In other words, if you only live for today and what you can get tomorrow, then you lose sight, you lose focus on what it could be in a month, in a year, in 10 years from now. The third thing that I want to just point out is that really financial maturity in a person's life comes about when you give up today's desires for future benefits. Whether you're looking at investment decisions, whether you're looking at retirement decisions, whether you're looking at decisions as to where you're going to live, what kind of job you're going to be involved with, what your standard of living is today, maturity is brought into bear when you give up today's desires, when you can see that there is something of even greater benefit that you can get in the future. Thank you.